every 5 to 8 seconds. That would be the big picture. Sidewalk to sidewalk, seeing if there's any pedestrians or any possible hazards. And then I am keeping my eyes moving again every 2 seconds. I'm moving my cone of vision, checking my mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. Leaving myself an out, making sure that, well, actually at this moment it would be the left-hand lane that would be my out because there's a bridge and curve on the right-hand side. Now I'd have a better chance on the right if there were cars on the left because there is a shoulder. Again, keeping my distance 3 seconds from the vehicle in front of me, coming up to the stop, so I'm slowing down. Checking my mirrors, seeing where people are behind me, checking to see if the person behind me is slowing down. If not, then I would probably take the out to the right. And pulling up, leaving enough space to have an emergency out if necessary. I can see the tires of the vehicle in front of me. I'm going to allow the left-hand lane, the cars on the left-hand lane, to buffer any kind of impact. I'm left, center, right, left. As I go through the intersection, I can see there's a vehicle on the left-hand side, but it's not in my blind spot, so I'm good. There's no vehicles on my right because there's a curve. Checking my blind spots every 5 to 8 seconds, moving my eyes every 2 seconds, so I don't become focused on anything in particular. I'm looking far ahead, between 15 or 10 to 20 seconds. I can see a traffic light. It appears to have just turned red. So we should be slowing down at some point. Braking to show the person behind me what my intention is. Road on my right, nothing is approaching. Traffic ahead, crossing the road. There's 2 pedestrians on my right, so I'm looking sidewalk to sidewalk, pedestrian on the left. And I'm braking, allowing the car behind me to know that I am braking. They can see my brake lights. It appears the 2 vehicles in front of me are turning right, even though one of them is not signaling. Lady at the bus stop. Looks like she has KFC for lunch. No, maybe not. So those 2 vehicles have turned, so I'm going to pull up just in front of the white line. The vehicle beside me is going to go first to create a buffer. Left to center, right, left. Making sure that there's no oncoming traffic. Looking ahead, seeing the traffic light that's at least, the first one is green, the second one I think is yellow and about to turn red. Vehicle in front of me turning left, his left, my right. Pedestrians at the sidewalk, or at the bus stop, I should be careful of in case they see a bus or missed a bus and attempt to go out. I went through an intersection and did my left, center, right, center, left. Vehicle up in front of me to the left is braking, so I'm checking to see why. And that would be because there's vehicles ahead of them. And I'm making sure that there's no one in my blind spot and then I remain out of someone else's blind spot. Aim high steering, seeing as far ahead as I can in my intended lane. Changing my vision every 2 seconds. Checking my mirrors every 5 to 8. Getting the big picture. Moving my eyes. Keeping my eyes moving. Pedestrians on my right. Several. And slowing down. Braking. Allowing the vehicle behind me to know what I'm doing. Using my communication effectively. And braking to allow to see the vehicle in front of me and possibly an out if necessary. So leaving myself an out if there was something to happen, I have the option of an extra escape route. My left, center, right, left, scanning the intersection. Vehicle ahead of me is changing lanes. And I'm driving between the white dotted line and the curb. I'm in the driving lane, not the passing lane. I would be in the passing lane if I was intending to pass. Checking my mirrors, moving my eyes every 2 seconds. Vehicle on the right has stopped. Vehicle from behind me is passing me. My speed is 60 kilometers, which is marked 60 stop behind the white line. And when the pedestrian has moved, I'm going to check again and hand over hand steering and recover. So, driving eastbound, the sun isn't an issue, so you don't have to worry about visors. If I was driving into the sun, it would be something that I would take into consideration when I see the big picture. That may affect my seeing the big picture. Hands at 9 and 3. My thumbs were inside the steering wheel and now they're not. Of course, I wouldn't say that if I was commentating to my story. Left, center, right, left. Checking at the intersection. Noticing that the intersection has 4 lanes. There's a truck ahead of me with no brake lights on. Car turning right. Several cars advancing in the passing lane on the left. And several turning left.
Okay. I think that's good. Yeah, I think you covered all the points. I would just maybe mention the lines a little bit on the ground to a student, what they mean. But aiming high, you talked about aiming high, getting the big picture, keep your eyes moving. I heard signs, pedestrians, you talked about hazards, scanning of intersections. I heard MSP, I heard glancing of the mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. Again, just talk a little bit about the lines. Leave yourself an out. Heard following distance, stopping distance, blind spot travel, path of least resistance. And the last one is make sure they see you. You talked about brake lights and turning signals. Good, very good. Okay, so let me just get my helmet to go. So I'm just gonna pull over. So